those who have joined. And as you must have figured out, we'll also be recording this and sharing with the group. Thank you for joining on this Saturday afternoon. We're going to be going through some critical functions of Excel. I'm going to give a short introduction about Atticus. We're then going to proceed to questions Q&A from the group. I hope all of you have joined from your laptops. That would be the right thing to do. If you haven't, you still have time. You can get it. The session will run from 3:10, which is right now, till about 4 to 4:05. If you at any point, if you guys have any questions, you can just put it in the questions or the chat box. Right, 2 minutes while you also can get hold of your laptop. Give me 2 minutes, guys. Thank you. Can you guys see my screen? Okay. Very simply, we're going to try three main formulas today. We're going to try sort and filter. We're going to try conditional formatting. We're going to try VLOOKUP. Post that, if we have time and if you guys are also interested, we can also continue with something called pivot table. Okay. In some of our previous sessions, we have completed how do you import data from text format or notepad format into Excel. We know how do you create these tables. We know how you arrange these tables and how do you make them client ready. So we're not going to go through that. We've also gone a couple of shortcuts in the previous. Now here, as you can see, is a simple database with 4 columns: subject, name, marks, and passing score. Subject, name, marks, and passing score. Let us say the number of subjects that are in the database. In order for you to look at an entire database and understand what subjects are being taught, the simplest way to do is select the entire table, go to data, add a filter, and then look at subject. Right? I'll go through that once more. You can select the entire table, which you will do by Control A. Click on data, click on filter, then the filter. Now, a filter is essentially a way in which you can look at all the information. आपको वो पूरा information दिखेगा जो एक particular column में है. So here now when I click on subject, मुझे ये subjects का नाम दिख रहा है. When I click on name, मुझे ये names का नाम दिख रहा है. Similarly, marks and so on. Now, a couple of questions arise before we get into sorting or other aspects of this. This is obviously marks related data. मतलब हर एक student का कितने marks आए हर एक subject, right? So if there is a student called Partho, तो उसको maths में कितने number आए हैं? That's how we get it. Right now, this data set is filtered by subject. Okay. Now, can we just look at this data and make some quick observations? Any observations that you guys can make simply by looking at this data set? Okay, so the first thing is it is hard to make assumptions right now. For example, अगर मान लो you've just entered the room right now and मैं आपको बोल रहा हूँ make some observations, what you are going to find is maths में कितने लोगों का data है, it is a little hard to look at the data and make that assumption, count and so on. So for example, in math, I know that if I select all the math ones, the total comes to be 7. Similarly, if I come to all the English ones, it comes to be 7. But if I ask you to look at the data and make those kind of assumptions, it's a little harder, right? So on one side, I have sorted everything by math. As you can see, there is no other relatable sort category out here. So it is hard for you to make any other assumptions. Now, what happens if I select this entire table sort and filter, sort head. Right now, everything is sorted with the subjects. Did make much of a difference? Not really. You still can't make any assumptions. Now let's change that a little bit. Now, instead of selecting this entire table for sorting, I'm only going to click on the name or the column and then click on sort. So instead of selecting the entire column, I will be selecting the name of the column header, which is C4. So name, sort and filter, sort A to Z. Now this is in because now your information is sorted by the names of the. So ERA for biology, chemistry, English, Hindi, math, physics, संस्कृत में कितने नंबर थे? Earlier, आपका subject wise information था, and you would have to understand in each subject who had gotten what marks. And now when you have it by name, it's a little easier. Next thing, I want to see how many people have. Who is the one who's got the highest in any subject? Same, sort largest, smallest. Ignore the A's. The A's symbolize that the person is absent or he has not attended the subject. Clearly, maths में highest is Ritesh, who's gotten 92. There would be no one higher than Ritesh in maths, and his figure is 92. Now, are you starting to guess or make observations on the data? That's right. So, इसीलिए, although a lot of people think is sort and filter are sort of basic formulas, जिससे इतना कुछ help नहीं होता है. Sometimes when you have a decent enough data size between 50 to 200 rows, a quick sort and filter makes you give out those observations very quickly without doing complex math and things. Okay. So all I did was I clicked on sort by numbers right here. And I got for math, the highest is Ritesh. For Hindi, the highest is Nikhil. For biology, the highest is again Ritesh, and so on. These are the highest numbers achieved by anyone in any subject. And hence, you get your observations. Who gets the highest in the subject? Okay. Now we're going to do something. I'm going to remove this column right now. And we're going to calculate or add an if formula, which we hadn't discussed earlier. But I want to add an if formula to understand whether the students have passed or not. So it's a status formula for this. So as you can see, we still have the same data set. We have 7 subjects. We have 7 names and their marks that they have got. The A indicates that they have failed. Now let's make a formula. Let's say that the pass marks for each of the subjects is percent equal to if the marks is less than 40 fail, more than 40, which is the alternative, pass. Hence, what do we get? Is there anything wrong in this formula, guys? Can you find anything wrong or odd about this formula? Right? The A is the problem, right? So 92 is obviously a pass. 11 is obviously a fail. The problem starts when there are alphabets. See, the problem with Excel is Excel treats everything as in binary or hexadecimal, and hence you need to explain to it much more clearly why A is a pass. So we have to amend our formula further. If D5 is equal to A, automatically a fail, or else if D5 is equal to 40, so on and so forth. Okay. So now we have the formula adjusted for figures which are not numeric. So we have non-numeric figures in column D, which will tell you whether the criteria is a pass or a fail, and hence now you get a fail for an A. I simply double click here, repeat this all around. That's what you get. If you want to test this further, let me just write A here, and A would automatically come as a fail. Okay. Now, a lot of times we have another problem. We have now here, let's say that your boss is someone who is similar to my boss, and he keeps changing his mind and he's not sure. ठीक है? तो श्योरिटी नहीं है कि क्राइटेरिया क्या रखना है. यार मुझे ना लग रहा है कि फेल होना चाहिए. आई थिंक इट शुड बी फेल इज 40. And then after 1 week he says, no, Partho, I told you fail is 35. And then he says, no, I told you fail is 60. So each time, if you have to make this across 60 different pages, this is going to be a painful endeavor. So what do? We need to find out a way in which at any point of time, if your boss or if your superior or if your client wants you to make a quick small change into your entire workbook, it should not take you around 1 day to make all the changes like it is going to take for me, right? If this was a more complex data sheet. Hence, we create a control tab. Let us say in the control tab, we write pass mark. Call the pass marks is 40. Now, here, instead of this, what if we ask him to call this value D50? Now, it will give the same result. The difference is this 40 being called from the control. Now, let me put the pass marks as 100. Let's see what happens. That's right. Everybody has failed. As you can see, everybody has failed. Now, let's make this as 50. A few more people have passed, and a few more people have failed. Okay. Okay, so we've covered sort, we've covered filter, we've covered the if function in a very high level, simple way. Now let's come to conditional formatting. Now we want to put some conditions in which we want to understand whether a person has passed or he has failed. It's a very simplistic condition to put. If he has passed or he has not. Okay. So let's make another column. Report column. This is the overall. The quality. Let us say overall, if someone has failed, then he has failed. And hence you want this to appear as green. Now let's start creating a matrix. Will be the color code, will be the status overall, equality. Now let's say the color code is green. This indicates he's overall pass and the quality is 80%. So he has scored more than 80% marks. Now let's say there is another category, orange. He is overall pass, but he has gotten between 40 to 60. So So his quality is actually he scored between 60 to 80. Okay. So he scored a minimum of 60 and a maximum of 80. And in this case, it's a minimum of 40 and a maximum of 60. And then, of course, there is fail, which is going to be red, which is he's failed and overall he's less than 40. Okay. All right. Now, how do we fit these colors? So, why are colors important? People ignore a lot of time the power of MS Excel as a reporting tool. So this is what we cover in the bigger data set, in the bigger program, where we explain what are the different ways in which Excel is used. So there, what we have found is that Excel is not just used for collecting data. Excel is a very powerful way to report data, which means that your client is going to be absolutely uh, ready to look at the final report simply looking at the Excel file. How does that work? How does that work? Any ideas, any thoughts? So how that works is we use conditional formatting to make it easier on the eyes for someone to look at the information and make sense. Okay. So let's try the overall color. As the name suggests, obviously we will start with the conditional formatting tab. In this, there are highlight cell rules and a lot of stuff. What we are going to do is start with a new rule. We want to create a new rule. Sorry, is someone annotating? Someone wants to annotate, you can just ask me. Okay. So now if your cell value is between 40 and 6. Oh, I'm so sorry. The first one is 60 and 80. What do you want the color code to be? So we want it to be red. You want it to be red or green? You want it to be green. So your font color would be green. Your cell color would be red. And hence this is how it would appear. Which means on this cell, if there is data which falls into this rule, which is 60 to 80, it would come as green. What happens, sir? No color, sir. Where is the color, sir? Okay. Let's see what happens if we add a rule. Now, if we say it is between 40 and 60, let's say that the value is between 40 and 60, we want it to appear amber, the cell, and the cell color with dark yellow. Like something like this. So no color yet, sir. Let's just wait for one more minute. New rule, same thing. Format is number. Format cells that contain is less than 40. You want it to appear as dark red, and you want it filled with pinkish hue, making it look something like this. Now, what we do is we simply add this text right here.
Hello, sir.
I mean, tell me.
Sir, Santosh has a doubt. He is not clear with this. Can you just look at it?
Of course, of course. Santosh, can you just tell me which part? Do you want me to go through this once more? Santosh, I can't understand what you're doing in this Excel, sir. Oh, you can't understand from scratch. Okay. Uh, were you with me till I did the sort part in the beginning?
Santosh, if you want, you can turn on your mic.
You can turn on your mic or you can write it in the text as well. So did you? Okay. So you understood the sort. Did you understand when I put the formula for fail and pass? Was that clear? The fail and pass formula. This one. Okay. No problem. So I'll just come to that. You can make the formula once more. No worries. So now we have created a report which has the marks, the subject, and the name of the student. Okay. Now, next to this, we also want to understand whether the student has passed in this subject or he has not. Now, let us say that we have put the pass formula, pass marks as 40 marks. Okay. So, the formula is very simple, equal to if equal to if, as you can see, the first thing that you need to enter is the logical test. So if the marks is less than 40, then you want this to return the value fail. And if the marks is not more than 40, not less than 40, value is pass. So this is how the formula works. Logical test is D8 is less than 40. If D8 is less than 40, what is the value if it is true? Which means that in that cell, the value is less than 40, comes out as fail. And if the value is more than 40, it comes out as pass. Now, this unfortunately will come as pass because Excel cannot interpret what is A. And hence, Excel thinks A either in the place of after if. Why are you text there 8, sir, in the place of that is the formula. So it's something like a code. D8. Okay, so let me start from the beginning. As you can see, MS Excel has a way of interpreting the table. A table has rows which are horizontal and columns which are vertical. So your rows are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and your columns are A, B, C, D. So a lot like a latitude and a longitude. Now, if you have to explain to someone this cell, as you can see, the cell value is D, A, B, C, D, and 1, 2, 3, 8. Hence, the name is D8. Is that clear now? Hence, the formula is if D8, which is whatever the value is in D8, which is A, is less than 40, then it is fail, or else it's a pass. Did that help? Now, let's extend this. As you can see, the formula was placed like that. Now, what happens is, it is also reading the A incorrectly. So I need to call it out separately in another formula, which is a nested if. So it is an if and an if. So if D8 is equal to A, is a fail. Our condition is if the student has not attended or is absent, then the value here would be A. So if D8 is equal to A, then he is a fail. If D8 is not equal to A, that's when the next formula starts. And this is called a nested if, which means this is an F nested inside an if. So when Excel will start reading this formula, it will go from left to right. It would start with if D8 is equal to A, it is a fail, which is what it checks. If D8 is not equal to A, then it will check for the next thing, which is D8 less than 40? Then it would be fail. And finally, if D8 is not less than 40, then it is a pass. Okay. As you can see, it is first checking if D40 is equal to A. So D40 kahan pe? Yahan pe. D40 is 56. So 56 is A. No, it is not. Going forward, if D40 is less than 40, no, it is not. So therefore, the answer is pass. Thank you. Okay. Uh, yeah. Is it clear now, sir? Now clear? Any other questions? Anything else on this? Okay. This is a fairly simple example. Of course, you'll be using Excel for changing the world. There, we use much more complex examples to understand, but this is the fundamental. Okay, now let me just copy the marks section one. Oh, here. Oh, bad. Conditional formatting. As we said, there are multiple ways to add conditional formatting. Let's try a simple way. What I have done is I will simply select this entire column. I've selected this entire column together in one place. How I have done that we cover in another class. Highlight cell rules. If it is okay, so this is interesting because this is my bad. I just noticed something. So we have got three slabs, right? Either someone is less than 40, someone is between 40 to 60, someone is between 60 to 80. Can you identify what the issue is? The issue is, what if he gets more than 80? I forgot to add a color for that. He would still be passed, right? He would be passing with very good colors. So, if someone has got more than 80 marks, we would say that on an overall level, he is a pass, and at a quality, he's at a level blue. So at an overall level, he's a pass, and at a quality, he will be a level blue. Okay. Now let's try and do that. In quality, let's go to conditional formatting. So we have selected this row. Now we go to conditional formatting. The first rule that we want to say is if it is greater than 80. Okay. What do we fill it with? We have to design. So we want to fill him with a light blue, and the font color would be a dark blue, making the overall text look like this. As you can see, some of them are looking. Okay, this doesn't look really good. So let's change this a little bit. So if you go to manage rules, edit rule, format, fill, make it a lighter blue. Okay. So now only those ones who are above 80 have been colored. Now let's add a new rule. Now if the cell value is between 60 and 80, what do we want it to look as? A light green, and the font color would be dark green. Now, next rule, number cells that contain cell is between 40, 60. You want the font color to be dark orange and cell color to be dark yellow, making the text look like this. Finally, a one between. So now basically anything less than 40, you want it to be colored with a light pink. Font color would be dark red. What was it? Right. As you can see, now we have got the colors sorted. However, there is one more thing which was missed, which is A. Let me just add another conditional formatting. Rules, rule, number that contain cell value is equal to A. Wherever there is an A, what do you format it as? The same thing, filled with a light pink, and font color will be dark red. Why? Because you know, sorry, oof, sorry, we do that again. Press the wrong button. Cell value is equal to A. It means that he is absent. It means that he has failed. Okay. Whoever has got an A is a fail because he has got less than 40. So now if someone wants to say what is the highest quality of people, one could say that it is the 80 plus people, and hence they look like this. Now if I just let me just sort this once more. So now you can see that this is randomly arranged. I have removed the sort function where it is not in any specific order. It is now only alphabet from this side. So if I just zoom out, as you can see, if I just zoom out now, the blue ones who have scored the highest, The red ones have failed. The green ones have also scored quite well. The amber ones are the areas of risk. Okay. All right. So I'll just take a short pause now. Any questions right now? Anything? Santosh, Mihir, even from you? No. Yeah. All right. Okay. Thank you. So now the last thing we'll do right now, very quick shortcut way to solve this entire Excel in less than 3 steps. All I do is I press Control A. I go on Insert. Select this entire table. I click on Insert, Pivot Table, and create a pivot. We can do 100,000 things with a pivot. But since there are no questions right now, so I'm going to cover the remaining 5 minutes with this. So this just the wrong Excel. Let me just redo this. My bad, guys. Now, I forget the subject part here. These are the list of subjects. Status, yeah. The number of people who have failed or passed. In biology, total of 2 people have failed and 4 people. 2 people have failed, 5 people have passed, and so on. As you can see, and very interestingly, this simple pivot gives you outcomes very quickly simply by dragging the column headers in this section, which is called a pivot table. A pivot table essentially sits on your database here. It works on your data set, and based on the changes you make here, it is able to compute and throw out suggestions. Now, let us say I want just the names of the people. These are the names of the people and the total marks that they have got. This is the total marks that Ira has got in all the subjects. Total marks that Jayesh has got now. Hence, as you can see, this also gives you how much marks that they have got. In here, if I add subject on the column, I have this exact same table replicated in this form. What does this tell me? This tells me very quickly what are the marks of each subject for each person, sorted by any format that I want. Okay. Now, that's where we'll put a pause for now because the next step is slightly more complicated. Any further questions right now? None? All right. So everyone who enrolled for the free 1 hour section for MS Excel, thank you for joining. I hope this was of some use to you. We'll continue to having these smaller sessions all throughout the year. If you want to enroll for any of our full-time courses, which is our 12-hour course with the case studies, with the lessons, with the recorded and as well as live classes, feel free to contact Mihir. And Mihir, thank you so much for organizing this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for giving your valuable time.
Thank you.
It was a great session, though.
Thank you. Thanks, Santosh.
Thanks a lot, Santosh, for joining us.
Thank you, sir.